Alrighty.
I think we're live.
We are live. What's going on, everybody?
How you doing? How we feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
I'm nice and cozy.
Yeah, we're in this couch. We're talking on a podcast.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good night.
It's going to be a good night.
The first ever worship production podcast.
This is so real. It's happening.
It's a real thing. It's been in the works for not that long, but long enough.
It was a quick dream.
It was
and
a
it
quick
took
dream.
off quick.
It did. We're like a fighter jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what the best thing about fighter jets is?
What's that?
Consistency.
Oh, shoot.
They
That's
always
deep.
go up. They always come down. So let's keep going up with this thing, and let's keep coming down.
I love it. I love it. But anyway, we're your hosts. My name is Tanner Patchett,
I'm Quinn Crossley.
and this is the Worship Production Podcast.
Woo!
We just kind of wanted to create this first episode to share our mission, share a little bit about ourselves, and then maybe just kind of like chat for a little bit. We want this podcast to be laid back, entertaining, and just fun for the audience, fun for us, and honestly just to have a good time. But Quinn, what exactly is our mission?
Yeah, we just wanted to make this podcast with the mission to further our own understanding of the world of worship and production and the entire culture behind it.
Yeah.
Tanner, what we want to do is we want to do all of that while entertaining and helping you, the listener, to understand this more as well, just this world. We want to learn, grow our understanding and just go deeper in it.
Yeah. And that's really why we're here and why we started this is we both have a joy for serving and working. We'll share a little bit more about ourselves in a minute. But we both work full-time in production. We both also serve on production teams at our home church, which is Christian Life Assembly here in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania.
Shout out.
Shout out the
CLA.
church on the hill.
Come on.
So we just kind of love being in the world, being in the culture behind that. And we just kind of wanted to make this to talk about it more, gain our own understanding, and then hopefully entertain you guys and allow you to learn from us or just learn about the culture from what we're talking about and what we're doing. So that's our goal.
It's so hype. It's so exciting that
It
we're
is.
finally
I'm pumped.
doing this thing. and I'm just excited to see how our knowledge grows and from episode 1 to episode 100, like what will that growth look like, you know? So, Tanner, who are you, man?
Yeah.
I want to know the backstory. What's your experience? Who are you?
All right. So my name is Tanner Patchett. I am currently an AVL technician for a local production company and integration company now since COVID. And we'll talk about it at some point in time. But I kind of oversee a lot of our quote building and ordering and lots of different stuff like that on the office side. But I am also humbly our L1, which has been a super cool opportunity. I've been able to run lighting and design lighting rigs for a lot of really cool concerts. I've gotten to do stuff with Andy Mineo,
No way.
KB, just a few. I'm blanking right now on some others, but some really cool opportunities. Very grateful for the opportunities that my company has provided. I forget if I shared. I think I did share that company. Yeah, Spirit Sound Light, also based out of right here in Mechanicsburg, PA, which is right next or very close to the church. But so I've been working with them since high school. I interned my senior year. I've known the owner of the company for a while. I ran Spot Op. That was kind of how I got into this whole thing. Was I was a spotlight operator for our Christmas dramas here.
Yeah,
And
big productions.
Huge. Lots of time, lots of effort goes into it, especially on the planning side. And now we have one of our pastors that like writes the entire script. It's actually insane.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I started with, well, I guess technically back in middle school, I ran sound just about every Sunday for our youth group. Or I guess it wasn't youth, but the youth service on Sunday mornings. And that's kind of where I grew my passion for the whole, sound and mixing thing. And right when I started, we actually bought a Behringer X32, which, as you'll come to learn about me, I hate just about all Behringer products. But back when we went from our analog board to that digital board, it just fascinated me. And honestly, as much as I'm ashamed to say it, the X32 probably got me hooked, and set my life on this course for production, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It's poetic, really.
It is. It is. Poetic justice on Behringer's end or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I've been involved in CLA and at church doing production stuff since I was in middle school. But that's how I met the owner of this company. Interned my senior year. They offered me a position. I've been working with them since then, which was the summer of 2020. So I am a 2020 high school graduate in the year of COVID, which was fantastic because I didn't have a senior year. It was great. Right. I mean, we had like part of it, but not having to do any work on the back half of the year and still graduating.
Smooth sailing. Easy stuff.
It was so smooth. It was fantastic. But yeah, they offered me a full-time position just recently, and now I'm working full-time with them. And
wow,
it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. It's just like a really cool track of, just a random serving opportunity at one point that just led to your full-time position now.
Yeah, and I feel so blessed because, so many people that are my age, and I don't know if I said this, but I'm 20 years old. Most of them are probably in college or something, and lots don't know exactly what they want to do, or they have an idea, but they're not certain on what they want to do. And I just feel blessed that God kind of put this path right in my lap.
Right.
And he's like, hey, here's this. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I love it. And I just pursued that ever since I was a kid. And yeah, very blessed. Other things about me though, and Quinn and I, it is sagging, the mic.
The mic is slowly going down.
It is. I'm going to be in my lap here in a second, as I readjust a little bit. Quinn and I both play musical instruments. But I mainly play guitar. I'm an electric guitarist. Also, obviously, play acoustic. I can play the keyboard. I can play bass. Not great at drums.
Yeah.
Not really. I have the groove, and I have rhythm. My limbs don't know what to do when I get behind a drum kit. It's really weird.
I've heard you sit there and play though. You got the rhythm. It's just when it comes to with someone else, live stuff.
Yeah, and that's probably it. I got the basic rhythm. I could put together a pattern, throw some fills in. But honestly, the main thing that confuses me with drumming is worship drumming. It's not okay, literally any rock song or punk rock song, I can probably play. It's just boom, 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 and it's just maybe that or that, but faster. It's great, easy.
Boots and cats.
Yeah, boots and cats. And that's how I learned to play drums, with boots and cats.
Right.
At the BWI airport at 4 in the morning on my way back from a missions trip is when I learned to play drums. I learned to play drums on GarageBand, actually.
Wow.
The boots and cats thing.
Yeah,
Jake Henry taught it to me. But it's the worship drumming. It's all the tom stuff, and it's I don't even know how to, but it's so much going on, and I feel like it's less just groove and more kind of free flowy, and that's where I just kind of lose it. And I also, so a little off topic, but another thing about me is I played soccer since I was 6. Pretty athletic. I was thinking about going D1, and my coach wanted to push me there.
D1?
He did. He wanted me to try out first, and I was I don't know, I wasn't necessarily feeling it. At that same time, it was COVID, and stuff started to get shut down. As I slouched down to talking to them, stuff started to get shut down. Our season was getting shut down, and that's when I really got into the worship side of things and really playing at church. And I just kind of felt like I wasn't supposed to play soccer. I also didn't feel like paying to go to a D1 school.
Yeah. Travel soccer team, stuff like that.
Yeah, and even my goodness, it was so expensive. But yeah, so I am ambidextrous, which is one of the things that that was a skill that really helped in soccer. But I think I actually favor my left foot just a little bit. So when I'm playing drums, I want to play the kick with my left foot. The first time I ever sat down at drums, it made more sense to me to put the hi-hat on the right side
Hmm.
and play the kick with my left. And it's a little difficult for me to play drums with my right foot on the kick because my
Right.
brain just, I don't know, it just doesn't work.
Well, they do have left-handed kits. I mean, like, would you be able to do the arms though?
That's the thing. Like I don't think so because I'm right-handed.
That's just
So
so
then it
like,
would be weird, right? Yeah,
twisted up.
yeah. So I don't know. I've given it a try, and I haven't really. I bought an electric set like a year ago and have practiced on that, mainly just for fun and to goof around on. But yeah, I forget where I was going with all that. But those are the instruments I play. That's how I'm tied in to the worship side. I play weekly here in our youth group, and then
CLA Youth.
CLA Youth.
We have seriously such a good team of musicians.
We
for CLA
we
Youth.
really do. Like we are blessed, like exponentially back here.
Right. As far as the leadership in total, I mean,
yeah,
it's just it's next level.
Yeah, we're really in a great spot. A place that I haven't seen it be in a while. So it's really cool to be a part of, for sure.
Right.
And we'll dive deeper into a little bit of like who the team is and what their roles are. But that about sums it up for who I am for the most part.
Right, yeah.
Quinn, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I love hearing about you, Tanner. I love hearing
thanks,
that.
Man.
I didn't even know the soccer thing. I didn't even know you were going to go
Really
T1.
not?
Yeah, I didn't. But now I do. And that's what this podcast is for, right?
Yeah.
It's for learning.
Understanding each other.
It's amazing. But like Tanner said, my name is Quinn. I'm 25 years old. I also attend CLA. I grew up in this church, and it has provided so many opportunities for like understanding leadership, understanding worship, and understanding production. I started playing drums back in the 4th grade. I'm a drummer by trade, and we
work perfectly together.
Yeah. I've played with the keys a little bit, but other than that, I'm just like hardcore drummer. I just focus on that. And like you said, worship drums are a different beast. They're just very dynamic. It's very like kind of hills. Like it's you start soft, go loud, go soft again. It's that back and forth with drumming. But yeah, it took me a long time to learn that flow of things, as a just going into years of playing with the worship team here. Pastor Christian, who's the worship leader here, he gave me plenty of opportunities to kind of step into that spot and have opportunities. He put me on the main service when I was like maybe 15, 16. Like
Wow.
I was young. And so like looking back, knowing him and like where his expectations are, it was an honor for sure that he gave me that opportunity to grow and really push myself further in drumming. But the reason I start with my instrument is because I didn't really have a focus on production growing up. I was just so immersed in the worship that the production world kind of found itself in my lap. You know
and
what I
the
mean?
production and worship world, I mean, they go hand in hand.
They do.
Which is why, obviously, the title of the podcast is like, when you're in one world, you just naturally learn so much about the other because they work so closely together.
Yeah. I mean, you could be a video guy, but not know a thing about instruments, and you step into the worship world, you're going to learn some things about music theory, whether it's rhythm or whatever. Same thing goes the other way. So I started learning back in like high school how to wrap up chords, over under stuff
over
like
under.
that.
Yes, sir.
And just helping wrap up the night whenever we're doing like a special event that's not, we don't have to keep the setup that we always have, stuff like that. And just opportunity after opportunity of helping with the mics, helping in Kids Town, which is our kids ministry. They would need help with sounds and lighting a little bit. And I was probably trash. I had no idea what I was doing because I was young, and they were like, hey, go back there and run sound, but it was an opportunity that got me behind a soundboard, behind a light board, and just got to like mess with the faders and learn what it looked like.
That's how we all start.
And it's just a compile of information. So, where I'm at now, I am at a LED video wall company called Refresh LED. They're really well branded. You might, if you know much about video walls, it's definitely one of the names that are on the top of the list. And it's just so great. It's very, very focused on building the kingdom, which I love about Refresh. It is so focused on advancing the kingdom through providing resources for churches. It's not about the money. It's about the mission. And it's such a cool thing. But I've only been there since September, and I've gathered so much new knowledge on the world of video that I didn't know existed, really. It's just amazing what these things can do nowadays. Most people think, when they think LED walls, they're thinking those signs on the side of the highway or like a stadium, like scoreboard in a stadium. But there's so much that these things can do, from lyric strips to side elements like columns to, we got a job coming up where it's going to be a cube with a roof. So it's going to be, and it'll be like 3D images kind of coming, like just the way that they project the video, it looks like it's coming outside of that box.
That's crazy.
It's just amazing what you can do. Another instance that it's used is The Mandalorian, that show, the Star Wars show. They used curved screens for the entire background of the show. The entire thing is filmed in front of an LED wall. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So it's just like, it's amazing what you can do with this stuff. And I feel like this world is only scratching the surface of kind of feeling it out, So the potential's limitless. And as we talk in this podcast and kind of discuss the things that I work with, the products that both of us work with, Tanner and I, we're just going to look to the future and really see where is this stuff going? And like, how are we as people going to be able to use that to advance the kingdom, build the kingdom? So it's just exciting to look at. You know?
Is. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of me. That's where I'm at. I'm with Refresh right now. I'm learning. I'm very new, to be honest. But that's why we're doing this, so that we can learn and grow and get a deeper understanding. Yeah. So.
No, absolutely. I can speak. Refresh makes some great panels. At my work, we use Refresh panels when we're out on doing like rentals and stuff like that. We have a 16:9 Refresh wall. Which
you guys did a trailer for a parade just recently. That
we did, yeah. So we did I'm learning and gaining my understanding that we need new mic stands.
We're slowly going down.
First things first. But no, we got an opportunity to. So the city of Harrisburg reached out to us about a quote for a stage and a small PA for the Christmas parade that they were doing around town.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, how about this? We will give you the stage. We will donate all the production that you need for this in exchange for I believe it was the first or second tier sponsorship level that you would typically buy into.
Right.
So we'll donate you the production, and we would like to be, I forget which level sponsor it was, but that level sponsor got a float in the parade, which is really, really cool. So we have a 24-foot long flatbed trailer that we use to haul our lifts and stuff like that when we're doing installs. So we built a truss square, like a truss cube. We had to do like 8-foot uprights to clear the traffic lights. A lot of math went into it, like figuring out like how high the trailer was, and then how high we could put stuff off. And then the video wall was rigged on the truss, so it was standing like 6 or 8 inches above it. So we're like, oh, hopefully we don't go under any bridges or anything. Obviously we looked at the route and we weren't going to. But we built this cube, put a LED strip, kind of like a Jumbotron-like design all the way around.
Right.
Which was super cool. On that like strip, because it was just one panel, just all the way around. We did advertisements for both ourselves and I forget what the name of the company was, but they were like, it was a music, they just dropped an album or something like that. But it was like Joy to the Berg. So it was all about Harrisburg, and it was just promoting the city. And that's honestly what the whole parade was about, was promoting Harrisburg City and just having a good time. So we did that. I designed some of the atmospheric and lighting on it, which was just, I actually don't know if we did a whole lot of lighting, but we did snow machines. And if any of you are familiar, I will probably drop a lot of model numbers on you guys because it's how my head thinks. But
number guy.
Yeah. So we had 2 Antari S500s and then 1 Antari S100. And so the S100 was shooting off the back, and then the S500s have the PM1 pan motors, and we put those on the sides, and they just rotate back and forth, but they're like cannons. So they just shoot snow, and they pan back
Bigger
and forth.
flakes or no?
So all adjustable. Both. So we made it adjustable. We made it small, and they just went everywhere. So it was this trailer that had LED wall with signage around the top, and it was throwing snow everywhere. And keep in mind, this is like the middle of December, so we're all in the Christmas mood. But the coolest part is we had live entertainment on the float. We got some guys, their last name is Dandy. They're brothers, and they actually attend the church, Christ Community, which is right down the road from CLA.
Yeah. We use their van a lot.
Yeah. So they came. They are fantastic. First of all, let me say he actually played a semi-hollow Gretsch, and then the other guy just sang. And oh my goodness, their rendition on some of the Christmas songs, it was beautiful. Wow. But they performed a live performance the entire route of the parade. Wow. So as we drove around, they're just like walking on the back of this 24-foot flatbed trailer, kind of decked out like a stage, doing a live performance. Super cool opportunity. But the walls functioned great. They looked amazing, super bright, especially in the daytime like that outside. Yeah, clear as day. I do apologize. I mean, we got them soaked with snow fluid.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Those are our outdoor panels, though. So
they are.
That it's built for that. Mm-hmm. It's really good. One thing, you guys actually provided me a learning opportunity with that because I don't know if you had a hand in the troubleshooting, but you guys they were rectangle panels. Mm-hmm. So you laid them sideways so that the longer side was up. Yep. They're designed for the shorter side to be up. So we
I think vice versa.
Vice versa. Yeah.
They're 500 by 1,000 panels, and they're meant to be 1,000 high and 500 wide.
Right,
or at least that's
correct.
the typical installation of these panels.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead, it was 1,000 wide and 500 high. And I, along with my service manager Shane, we worked through figuring out on the Nova LCT program, which is what launches and kind of runs the Nova Star processors that we use. We use the VX1000. Yep. But just learning in that software how to turn an image 90 degrees so that we can make your image look great. And so what we basically did was we essentially made your wall like it was standing straight up, like one rectangle standing on top of each other, 10 high or however long it was. And we just turned the picture 90 degrees so it landed in there. And it was a lyric strip or was it graphics or?
Graphics.
Yeah. So that was a fun opportunity for me. It's cool how our businesses clash like that.
It is. Yeah. No, I was a part of the troubleshooting. We were in the shop. We had it all built in the shop, and then we were testing it out, and we were running into some problems not figuring out how to flip the panels. And we're like, they have to be able to be flipped. There's no way they can't be flipped. Right. Like, what if you want? And I mean, not to mention the fact that like literally there's mounting for them to be in that orientation. So it's like, all right, they have to be able to.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole reason we did that was, like I said before, was to clear the traffic lights. We couldn't have the panel being so high. Not to mention the fact that we would have needed double the amount of panels around if we laid them in the 500 wide orientation. So yeah, that was a super cool learning experience. But we got it turned around, and it was awesome. It was a fun time.
That's great. It's so it's so cool to see just production come to life. It starts with like a dream of what you think you could see, and like you just did the youth center lights out here. We're in the youth center, by the way, doing this podcast. Yeah. but you just did these lights out here, and in your head you probably drew it out before you put it together.
Oh yeah.
And it's just that coming to life of your creative freedom.
Yeah, which is one of the things, honestly, I love most about my job is I have so much freedom when I design, live event rigs, when I design, we're talking now, so I don't personally know the band, but Shinedown.
Okay.
So they're going on tour with a couple other of those like rock bands, and I completely forget their names. I'm not a big rock guy.
Is Quinn one of them?
No, I don't think so. It's I was emailing the lead singer the other day, but I forget. Oh, from Ashes to New is on the card as well, and then there's one other band, but they kind of reached out to us, and we're in the midst of designing just totally creative ways to incorporate video wall and lighting and deck packages, because they have 15 minutes to get their deck package on, and then 15 minutes to get their deck package off before the next band comes on and loads on their deck package. So you had talked earlier about like columns with the LED walls, and we'll probably be using refresh walls. What we're doing is we're getting truss base plates with 10-foot high truss, mounting a column of LED wall in the front. Which just obviously it'll all be wired, and then you just wire in on the back and then link to the next column. And we're welding wheels on these base plates so that they can tip it. Everything can be built off stage. They tip it back, wheel it onto the stage, set the column where it needs to be. The other thing is they're playing in different venues, all the way from arena and like stadiums to like just mid-size, live event venues in the area. And I mean, I think they have 52 something shows throughout the next couple months, all over the country. So, but all different sizes. So the columns allow you to be able to place them wherever you want. Like if you've got a shorter stage, maybe your LED wall idea wasn't going to work. It's only going to work for this venue. Well, the columns the columns being close, you can spread the columns apart, and then being on wheels makes it efficient, because instead of dewiring and taking all that apart on stage when you only have 15 minutes, crank back, wheel it off stage, and you can do everything after. That's been super cool. But no, I really do love the freedom that I get designing live events, and also like integration. During COVID, obviously live events shut down, and that's what Spirit did. We were a live event company, still are at the heart. We had to adapt to find a way to stay afloat. And one of the things that our owner did not want to do, he did not want to have to do any pay cuts. He didn't want to have to lay anybody off, and he didn't.
That's great.
It's incredible that he was able to do that. But one of the ways we did that was switching our whole business model to now doing integration. And all of that is at churches. 90% of our integrations are at churches. And that is like what Refresh does, is we're there to use the church's resources and use our skills to give them the best like production that they can do, and that they can afford. And through COVID, the biggest thing was streaming. Everybody started streaming. Everybody needed streaming systems, so that's what we installed. I can't tell you the amount of ATEM minis I've installed in churches all over the place. But recently, as we kind of are getting out of this and back into live events, lots of the installs we're doing are fairly large, and just being able to design light rigs, just like I do here in the youth center, I just have all this freedom, and I can think about all this stuff. But when I actually get in the room and start to do it and see it come to life, it's just so cool. Because it's like, man, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's how I wanted it to work. And look, it is. It's doing exactly what I thought.
And
it's
that's why we do it, right?
That's why you do it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool. You just brought up the COVID thing, and it made me think like it was kind of the time for the church to have like an arms race. Like they kind of like all were growing a stream at the same time, and everyone was like, and it wasn't a race, it wasn't one against another, but like it was just funny that it kind of turned inward instead of that outward production, and just see how the world has changed with that. The world of production, especially,
It was crazy during that whole time watching. I mean, the term arms race perfectly describes it, because that's what it was. Like not a lot of churches had streaming at that point in time. Obviously, yes, there were some. There were, a good amount. The big churches had it. But we're doing streaming systems in churches of, maybe they have a congregation of like 50 people.
Right.
And it's all because they want to reach people who aren't at church, whether that's because of COVID or because of other reasons. They want to spread the word, and that's what we want to help aid them in the best that they can, in the best that we can. And which has just been a super cool opportunity. But yeah, like I mean, I've done the same, not the same, but a streaming install at the same church like 3 or 4 times over COVID as they now this is a larger church, but as they upgrade stuff, it's just like, oh yeah, here's another streaming system, because not only did we grow as a church and as a production company, the manufacturers grew.
Oh yeah.
Like look at Black Magic.
Right.
It's almost too early. Like I love Black Magic. I love what they're doing. Their new Constellation line for their video switchers, for the price, is blowing me away. I am just it's unreal. But they're also racing to put out the best product, and you saw that happen. At least looking back on it now, it's like, man, look at those 3 years. Like look where we started,
right,
and look where we're at now.
It's ridiculous.
Like holy smokes, it's crazy. But yeah, it's an arms race.
Yeah,
it's
exactly it's the same thing. You can look at the video processors in the same way. I mean, with the VX series that we use as our standard now, well, we have a new one coming out. It's the we have the M controls, and then in that line there's MX or something like that that's coming out. It's like their newest product coming out soon, and it can do essentially one processor can do 6 VX1000s worth of work in one processor. It's like it's over 1 million pixels worth of capacity. The ports is like up to 40, I think. Like it's just insane what
so now so the max capacity on a VX6 or a VX1000 is 3.9 million pixels, and that's over all 10 outputs.
Yeah. So I'm clearly showing my inexperience. I know that it's worth 6 VX1000s. I'll bring this to the next week's podcast. Yeah. But yeah, it's looking really cool, and their software to control it, VCAN, is just next level too.
That's
when
crazy.
You look at Smart LCT or Nova LCT, just the way that it operates, it's so much more user friendly.
So is it not a Novastar product?
It is a Novastar. It is a Novastar. Yeah. Okay. So it's their new line coming out. But yeah, I wish man.
No,
that's why we're doing it.
I'm looking forward to hearing more about that next week. Obviously, so I don't do a ton with that kind of video stuff. Definitely not the video wall. We have a member of our team who does a lot of that, and he knows that way better than I do, which is why he does it, and I don't do it, so I don't necessarily have to know. I know enough to be dangerous. But yeah, no, that's crazy, because I'd be one, or I guess my question about that would be, obviously the Novastar, the VX6 or the VX1000 right now, the total output is deemed by its number of like physical CAT outputs, which I believe is 10. And each output has a max of a certain number of pixels that equals 3.9 million. Right. I'm not going to do math on the podcast because I'll probably get it wrong.
Right. So I know you can do up to 23 data lines on a 2.9 panel. That I do the configuration charts, so it's up to 23 data lines with 2.9s and then 17, I think, on 3.9s.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
So I'd be interested to see if the reason that it can do as much as 6 times the amount of a VX6 or VX1000 is because it has more outputs, or are those outputs more capable?
Right. Yeah, I know the receiving cards, like the cards within the thing, is souped up. It's like it's next level.
That's crazy.
But there is more ports as well from my memory.
Okay.
I'm going off of like one day. Our chief technology officer just like ran through like all that he knew about it. So yeah, he's a wizard when it comes to it, and I'll probably get information from him on that.
Sweet. Can't wait to hear about it.
I'll bring it back to y'all.
Oh, please. So. I'm excited.
Yeah. Man, this is great. I'm so excited for what this podcast is going to become and where it's going.
I'm stoked. I'm just stoked.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be great. Well, to all you listeners who are out there wondering, what is, I've been waiting for a production podcast all this time. Is this really the one? we're here to answer you. Yeah, Tanner, tell them.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It is the one. So tune in. We're gonna be doing what? Are we doing weekly? Or are we doing
I
bi-weekly?
think we're gonna try to do weekly. if
Yeah,
we can.
that's the goal for now, right?
That's the goal.
So
Obviously, we'll see with the both of us. I know I've got a lot going on in my personal life.
right, life goes up and down,
and so
like a fighter jet.
exactly
Full circle.
full circle. So we will definitely aim for weekly, which will be super cool.
Yeah. And we want to ask questions. We want to have specific, like, dive it deep into, like, which microphone's best, which light, does what.
Exactly. Yeah. Today was definitely more of a open-ended podcast, open-ended conversation, lots of off-topic, like, rambling, which I promise you there will be more of.
100%. We're too ADHD to stay on topic.
Don't think that that's going away, but we definitely do in the future want to get more specific, and we want to answer your guys' questions.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, hopefully our goal is by next episode 2, we're going to be making an Instagram for the podcast. Come on, somebody.
Yes.
So DM us your questions once we make that Instagram. We'll let you know maybe next podcast or the one after that what the ad is for that Instagram. But please DM us your questions. We want to hear from you guys. We want to answer your questions. Between our experiences and what we're involved in, we can definitely get answers for you guys.
Yeah. And our desire to learn more.
Yeah.
Like we want the questions not only so that you guys can learn, but so that we can learn. You know?
If you don't want to take the time to learn, just ask us. We'll take the time to learn for you.
And we'll just bring you the answer.
And we'll just come back
like
with,
a Google.
Exactly. Pretend we're like a worship production Google.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. New mission.
Come on.
I'm kidding. But no, it is going to be a great time. I'm super excited. Do you have anything else?
I don't think for this week. I think we're excited to get this thing launched. And it's just
it's gonna be an awesome journey. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. And if you have any questions, DM them.
Oh yeah.
All right.
See you guys. Have a great week in the Lord.
We out.